We have three people, four actually, because Musa
Runs
came
in the
from
family.
California, but we have three people from out of state who prepared things to tell us about their memories of my mother, and we'd really like to hear them. We didn't get to hear them in the chapel or at the gravesite, obviously, and they're all here. So, Dave Glashow, could you come up and talk about the Glashow family?
Coming up where?
Len, why don't you move to the council and sit there?
Sure. That's a very good idea.
Okay. It's supposed to be 2 minutes, so don't get.
Well, it doesn't have to be anymore.
We're not under conscience rates. You can take this one.
You're not under,
This place is open all night, don't worry.
Apparently I'll be here till morning.
wow.
I didn't know you had a lieutenant.
I have many degrees that I don't talk about.
Sorry, the camera's here.
I'm a Celsius. Emily, as Paul's now said to about 17 different people who ask me, and he jumps in and answers. My turn, Paul. Paul, not Paul.
No.
Emily and my dad were first cousins. When my dad passed away a number of years ago, Emily took me aside and told me a story that when she first came to the United States, she was about 12 years old. She spoke little or no English, and she was, of course, overwhelmed by the, I don't think they would have used the word culture shock at that point, but that's what it was. I mean, she was in a completely different universe, and she was just... Oh, okay. I can be louder. I have my professional teacher voice. And she said that of all the members of the Boston branch of the family, the younger ones anyway, my father showed her a lot of kindness, and she never forgot that. And that just, that touched me, and I said, that's, thank you, appreciate that. But 2 days ago, Leonard sent me another one of the writings that we've been, hearing from, today, that spoke specifically to that, and I'd like to share it with you. She says, toward the end of my 5th grade, so I'm assuming she was 12 at that point, so that must have been...
She was put into 5th grade because she couldn't speak English.
Ah, okay. Toward the end of my 5th grade, I had to write a paper on the Panama Canal. I got some books out of the library, and then I realized I didn't have the slightest idea how to begin. My cousin Arnold, my dad, came over, and while I was stretched out on the bed, I was feeling under the weather, he sat in a chair next to me and helped me organize the paper, find the important facts, and put it together. That was 62 years ago, and I can still see that scene clearly. So that was 1997, she wrote that, so that means that was about 80 years ago now. So when I hear that, what comes to mind is, thank you, Dad, for being that stand-up guy at the age of about 17. Thank you, Emily, for paying it forward more times and in more ways than any of us can ever possibly count. And thank you, Lehrman family, for that special bond that developed because of a couple of teenagers 80 years ago.
Wow. That's lovely.
I just want to tell you that that reminds me of another part of her memoirs where she talks about how Roman Jakobson, who was Chomsky's teacher, and her teacher, the one who gave the lectures that my dad talked about in Russian, that no one could pass the exam without using my mother's notes that were in English. Roman Jakobson sat down with her when she was doing her thesis on Pushkin in Soviet criticism, and she had all these cards with all these critics that she didn't know what she was doing, and he did exactly what Arnold did. He sat down and said, this one is an acmeist, and this one is a symbolist, and this one is, and he knew all of them, and that's how she organized the paper. And then she did the same thing for me when I was writing an opera based on a Sholokhov story, and I had a collection of Russian folk music that I wanted to use, and she sat down and said, this is a Red Army song, this is from Ukraine, this is about Dnieper, that's the kind of mind she had that she picked up from your father and Roman Jakobson and passed on, as you said, many times.